If you were watching this video, you have definitely experienced and lived through eclipses. Now, eclipses are astronomical events, exactly as you would think they are. An eclipse takes place when one heavenly body moves in the shadow of another heavenly body. Now, there are two types of eclipses that we really pay attention to. It is the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse. And from our planet, a lunar eclipse is when the Earth moves between the sun and the moon, blocking all the sunlight. Now, a solar eclipse is an eclipse of the sun, and that's when the moon moves between the sun and Earth. So astronomically, these are beautiful events that are very rare. They only happen a few times a year, and they go through a certain path across the Earth, and they sometimes won't even happen in your city or your country for maybe never. And that's why a lot of people actually go travel to the path of eclipses to actually see them, even though they last up to 8 minutes. But that's the thing, they are so captivating, so exciting to watch, and they have actually been occurring in our celestial sphere for even before civilization existed. Now, in astrology, eclipses have really deeper, significant meanings that are attached to them, and they are concerned with the relationship between our sun and the moon. Now, we have a new moon and a full moon every month. New moons typically bring new beginnings. Now, full moons bring conclusions or completions to certain aspects of your life. But these eclipses turbocharge these full moons and new moons, and they have a lot of energy that can last from 6 months to a year to 2 years, for a long time, unlike the full moons and new moons, where the energies of those have a shorter time frame or a shorter time frame window. You get it. Now, without getting too esoteric here, eclipses happen every 6 months. That's their cycle. And they take place near the North Node and the South Node. So you always want to watch those. Eclipses bring bigger developments in your life. And again, it can be an ending of something and the beginning of something new as well. Sometimes you will feel the effect of the eclipse on the day of the eclipse, or you may feel it just a buildup, like it's kick-starting something new, okay? And you actually feel it within you. Now, I get a lot of questions about eclipses, so I'm here to tell you what you should and you should not do, what you can expect, what you probably shouldn't expect during eclipses. And I'm going to give you some examples to give you some context, because we're going to go through time to show you what eclipses have done for not only our planet, but even for me personally. Now, the first things first. Rule number 1, never fear an eclipse. Eclipses are all different. They fall in different signs. They fall in different houses in your birth chart. They will all affect you differently. And you have to see what other aspects are happening during those eclipses too. So, yes, there are sometimes good eclipses and sometimes bad eclipses, but it really is how you handle it and how you approach these eclipses and how you come out of these experiences on top, being a better version of yourself. So when I say don't fear eclipses, it's because there's always been a stigma behind eclipses, and this dates thousands of years. In fact, the first mention of an eclipse dates all the way back to January 29th, 1137 BC. This was recorded in a Chinese book in the Zhou dynasty, and the book was discovered in 280 AD. A lot of ancient cultures saw eclipses as disruption or chaotic or, had negative connotations. I mean, think about living in the ancient times, like during the day when you're out there playing with your stick figures, right? And then suddenly everything goes dark for about 3 minutes. You're like, oh my goodness, what the heck is going on? And then it becomes light again, okay? And so that's why a lot of ancient cultures thought it was like this terrible thing, like all this darkness during the day. And so they saw them as like really bad omens. There were other ancient civilizations that loved them. They were fascinated with them. They were like, whoa, I love this thing. The Greeks and even the Egyptians, and even going from the Middle Ages to like the medieval times, like 14th century, 15th century, 16th century, they were fascinating. I mean, the telescope horoscope was discovered in 1609. This was exciting. Uranus was discovered in 1781. Like, this was exciting to start exploring eclipses. But again, it still had that connotation of these omens. But if you move through the timeline of our planet, it's like the latter half of the 20th century. Eclipses became like major subjects in paintings and poetry. So never fear eclipses. They are going to change your life in one way or another, or an aspect of your life, or they can affect people that are close to you. And that is your eclipse event, okay? It, again, depends on what sign it's in, depends on what else is happening. It depends on your birth chart, but they should never be feared, okay? Even the ones that are considered bad, they're basically bringing changes into your life. And as Greek philosopher Heraclitus said, change is the only constant in this world. So the only reason people may be afraid of eclipses these days is because they are afraid of change. But again, change is constant. You don't wear the same clothes every day, do you? In astrology, eclipses serve as a tool in, determining outcomes, but also experiencing significant moments in your life. They are crucial new beginnings that come with solar eclipses, while a lunar eclipse, again, which falls on a full moon, will wrap something up of significance. They also, they will change your perception of time too. That's what eclipses do, all right? Because they're so life-changing. And so sometimes the language you hear around eclipses, like a lot of astrologers will say, eclipses are full moons on steroids or new moons on steroids. Yeah, that may make you little like, whoa, that's crazy. I don't want that. So I just want you to know you should never fear eclipses. Ultimately, if you want to see them as tests rather than things to fear, see them as tests. We constantly go through tests through life, and these are just tests, but some of them are going to be very easy for you. Like, you will be able to take these tests, in your sleep. Some tests may be a little bit more challenging, but then you have this chance to really kind of mold the direction of your destiny. So even though eclipses are dramatic, they bring moments we will always remember. They are part of the cosmos. So essentially, it's what the universe wants for you. For me, generally bring a sigh of relief. Like, this chapter of my life is finally over. I've been excited about starting this new chapter. Thank you, eclipses, for making this happen. Number 2, expect the unexpected. Eclipses are game changers. And again, really depending on what kind of eclipse it is. There's annular eclipses, partial eclipses, total eclipses. It really, total eclipses are the most significant, by the way. Everything is really dependent on what sign it's in, what other aspects are happening at the time, the house it's in, how it affects your birth chart, where it falls in your birth chart. We're going to skip all that. All we're going to say is expect the unexpected. That's what eclipses are. Sometimes they are very game-changing. And they work in these mysterious ways sometimes where you can't really pinpoint it. You have to actually really do a deep dive into your birth chart. So I'm going to give you an example of something that recently happened on one of these eclipses. Now, last year, May 15th, 2022, we had a total lunar eclipse in Scorpio. I'm in Aquarius and Gemini rising. This should have affected work for me, okay? Because Scorpio for Aquarius represents our 10th house of career. With me as a Gemini rising, that's my 6th house of everyday activities, which includes work. I was expecting something to happen around work at that time. At the same time, I was actually seeing somebody. It was going great. We were having a great time. I was thinking, all right, this is cool. I love the direction this is going. We've gone on many, many, many dates. On the day of the eclipse, out of the blue, out of nowhere, I was dumped. Out of nowhere. So obviously that left me very confused. Not the fact that, I was being dumped just randomly out of nowhere, honestly, out of the blue. But I was thinking more about my career. I was thinking something's gonna happen around my career, because this is hitting, me being an Aquarius. This total lunar eclipse in Scorpio is going to affect me in terms of career. Why did this happen? Why did I get dumped? Why, it had nothing to do with relationships. So, looking at my birth chart, I have Uranus in my 6th house. Okay, remember I said I'm Gemini rising, so this eclipse for Geminis, it was in their 6th house. Okay, and so Uranus is the planet of the unexpected. Okay, so it really had an impact there, but it really did affect my career, because just a month before I had gotten promoted at my full-time job, which was an amazing thing. And so I was getting a lot more responsibilities. And at the same time, and you will not believe this, but it's right there in front of you. I had started this YouTube channel at the end of March, okay? And of course I was getting like 4 views per video. It was that week of the eclipse, actually 2 days after the eclipse, one of my videos went extremely viral. And that's what started to make my channel grow. Can you believe that? Isn't that crazy? And it was that time when I was dating this person where I was thinking, okay, this is getting serious. I'm going to have to stop the YouTube channel, and I won't have time for it, especially because I have a lot more responsibilities at my other job as well. I won't have time. I've been seeing this person. We see each other 3-4 hours a day. It was... yeah. So you can see how this eclipsed that person I was dating out of my life, because the universe had other plans for me. And I actually love doing these videos, and I really did want it to grow. And at the same time, I love my job, and I was extremely happy with the promotion I had gotten. So that is an example of just expect the unexpected, but you have to really kind of, get all Scooby-Doo here and figure out how and why this eclipse happened for you, because they're always doing it for your benefit, okay? Eclipses really are setting this new course for you, or adding to something on your life, or really expanding something, but they're marking this significant moment. Think of it as like a TV series, as one of your favorite shows, right? It's like, think of the set of eclipses as, if your life was Curb Your Enthusiasm, okay? These eclipses coming up is season 3. The next set, season 4, okay? There's going to be changes with each season that represents your life. Another example is a full moon lunar eclipse. We had July 27th, 2018. I was at a completely different job. This eclipse was an Aquarius, okay? Very interesting, because not only am I an Aquarius, but my Venus and my midheaven are in Aquarius, okay? 2018 was the crazy year. It's when we had like 5 eclipses. I won't get into that, but this July 2018, on the day of the eclipse, I quit my job. It came out of nowhere. I surprised myself. It was a Friday. I was at a different job. I had a desk job at the time. My boss was in the office, and I just quit. And it was very liberating. But the crazy thing is, I didn't plan this. I didn't prepare an exit plan. I didn't do any of that. I just knew at that time I needed to quit. And it came out. My boss was in the office. Like I said, I just quit. It was very, very jarring for me, but also very liberating. It was the best thing that I ever did, because it turned out I didn't really like that job. So again, expect unexpected things to happen. They may not happen on the days of the eclipse. I'm just giving you 2 examples, but there are other eclipses that have happened where nothing, stands out for me on the day of the eclipse. But again, everything really depends on like your birth chart. There's so many other things involved, but also a lot of these things are happening behind the scenes. Remember that, okay? So even if something doesn't happen like in real time, in real life, right away, like right on the spot, it could happen behind the scenes, okay? building up. The other thing is, remember, these eclipses, think of their energy field, just really massive. So you can actually feel them a month before, something could happen a month before the eclipse. Something could happen a month after the eclipse. It just really depends on your chart. But just think around that time frame. So these two eclipses coming up that we have, all right, the new moon solar eclipse that's happening in Libra, the full moon lunar eclipse that's happening in Taurus. First, we're entering a new series of eclipses, and they do come in pairs, okay? So they will always come in pairs every 5.5, 6 months apart. All right. But it also depends on what sign they're in. You got to look at the lunar nodes. That's what I'm here for, to guide you through all this. But in any case, this is just everyone should prepare something in their lives to change. Okay. So embrace it. Accept these changes. They're happening for a reason. Number 3. Well, I get a lot of questions on manifesting. Should I manifest during an eclipse? Here's the real answer. These eclipses are going to have an impact on your life either way, in certain areas of your life. Whether you manifest or not, manifesting, first of all, pretty much is fine for a new moon, all right? Because that's you manifesting this new direction, this new path, new journey. So sure, it's fine if you do, but the bigger picture, you should be manifesting every day. You should be putting all your energy, heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears in your passions every day, okay? That's what's really going to help. So I wouldn't save dates to manifest. I would be manifesting every day the things that you want, all right? When you manifest every day, when you're putting energy toward your passions, toward the things that you want on a daily basis, you're getting closer and closer and closer to your superconscious, okay? That's love transcending time and space itself. This is you vibrating at a higher frequency, okay? We're all made of energy. I talk about this all the time. The higher your frequency, the more that your energy levels are high, the more you're going to attract the things that you want. I mean, it's just, you should be practicing the law of attraction every day. Gratitude is a part of that. That's what's really going to help with your manifestation. So sure, you can manifest during the eclipse, but I would actually recommend you do it every day. Do it every day. Always be thinking about the things that you want and your goals and your passions and putting all your energy toward that. And again, vibrating at a high frequency. Okay. Let's bring back the good vibes. All right. Remember, that was like a big thing in the 60s or more like the 70s when the metaphysical and astrology and all that was like really kicked off, right? And everyone was saying like, you got good vibes, man. So I would love to bring that back because nobody really says that anymore. But if you want to do like a manifestation ritual around that time, sure, do it. Go for it. There's no reason why you shouldn't. There's no reason why you shouldn't, okay? For the lunar eclipses, when things are coming to a conclusion or coming to an end, again, you can do some sort of, ritual around that as well. If there's something that you want to end, because that's you putting your energy out there. But like I said, you should be doing it on a daily basis, okay? Do it more regularly, and you will, get closer to the things that you want. It's Einstein who said, match the frequency of the reality you want. You can't help but get that reality, so you want to do it every day. And like I said, these eclipses will affect different areas of your life for every different sign. It really depends on your sun, your rising, other aspects that are happening behind the scenes. For example, let's take this new moon solar eclipse that's coming up in Libra. Okay, for Capricorn risings, it's going to affect their 10th house of career, okay, and fame. So if you, for instance, are a Capricorn or a Capricorn rising, this eclipse is really going to have an impact on your career. So if you're a Capricorn rising, and you're trying to manifest, purple plants growing in your garden, that's not what the eclipses are here for you, okay? It really is going to be more career focused. So if you are going to manifest, it's got to be somewhat in line with where these eclipses fall. So again, really going to be more career focused. Like you can manifest I want to get a puppy. I want to get a puppy, and you can have your puppy like a ritual, like manifestation ritual around having a puppy. But just know the eclipse is mostly going to have something to do with your career. Okay, so but that's what I'm saying is you can have it all. Just practice doing these meditations and manifestations and all of that, affirmations on a daily basis, okay? On a daily basis. And use crystals. I mean, crystals have so much energy. I did a video on crystals. I'll put it somewhere around here, maybe the end of the video, but they work. Number 4, definitely keep a journal. These eclipses, again, are cycles. Now, what's really interesting is that the same eclipse will occur. These are 19-year cycles. So the same eclipse will occur every 19 years. So this new moon solar eclipse in Libra that's happening has happened 19 years ago on the same degree, the same date. So you can look back to October 2004, see what was happening around that time. Something around this eclipse may mirror that. You may have echoes of something that happened, something that set off this new change in your life. So since I was in college, I've written down everything that I've done every day. So I have many days of my life recorded. So you can consider it a diary, you can consider it a journal, but it really is just me writing down what happened every day. And so I have records of everything that's happened every day of my life since college, which was a long time ago. So I can look back to October 2004 and I can see exactly what happened around that time. I started writing a book. So now think about this new moon solar eclipse in Libra. For me, as an Aquarius and a Gemini rising, as an Aquarius, this eclipse is falling in my 9th house of publishing. And with me being a Gemini rising, that is my 5th house of creativity. So it's very interesting. Around October 2004, I was able to start writing a book. I had time to write a book. I went to school for creative writing. And now with this eclipse coming up, I just finished writing a young adult novel that I'd been working on for a long time. But it is very deeply satisfying. And, I'm in the process of getting it, talking to agents and whatnot. But you see how there is overlap there, okay? So always keep a journal because it kind of gives you an idea if you can look back at past eclipses to see what you could expect and what you may focus on. Direct all your energy toward. And remember how I said significant things happen during eclipses. They're all recorded. You can do a quick Google search. You can see all the big things that have happened during the eclipses. The total solar eclipse, May 29th. 1999. It's when scientists were actually watching the eclipse, and not to get too into the story, but this was the moment that Einstein's theory of general relativity was proved during this eclipse. One of the most famous ones happened in 585 BCE. There was a war in what was then Turkey where this eclipse happened, and both parties saw it as an omen, as we need to stop fighting. And they did. So that prevented a war that could have really changed a lot of the course of history. Number 5, eclipses will reveal a lot. They come in some form of revelation. And so they usually are, like I said earlier, surprising sometimes or unexpected. And so with these eclipses, they really require you to hear the truth. They will unfold the truth. It could have anything to do with anything that's happening in that house in your, sign, but it can be with a partner, relationship, career. It can be, with home, but there is some surprising news that you could hear, news that come in the form of a truth that you will have to accept. And just like the example that I had given you earlier, some people actually may be eclipsed out of your life during eclipses. So be prepared to hear some truth that you may didn't see coming, but at the same time, it is something for you to work with moving forward. Again, eclipses will affect everyone differently. It really is something where you want to pay more attention to your sun and rising. And of course, because it involves the moon, your moon. Eclipses, again, game changers. Some you may feel very significantly. Some you may feel like a buildup working toward it. And some you just may not feel at all. It's just like, wait, what? Nothing happened for me. But you'll see that it is just, it's happening behind the scenes, and there is going to be this progression because the effects of the eclipse can last years, okay? Years. So with that said, thanks so much. I hope that really clarified a lot of things. Eclipses, I'm not gonna lie, people write books on eclipses, but hopefully I condensed it in a way that you know what to expect, why they're happening, and how it may be nice to just kind of write down what happens during eclipses for you, so later in the future you can see what may be coming, or theme that may be coming up in your life again. In any case, thanks so much. Y'all are amazing. I'll see you. All right. Bye-bye.